Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Illumineers Quest podcast, where we talk everything Lorcana, not just the Illumineers Quest product. I'm Zach.
And I'm Jacob.
And thanks for coming on this journey with us. Is that going to be the new one going forward?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
We're going to stick with that. We were ahead of the curve. You know, we still have to joke about it a little bit. But anyways.
From day one, let's just put that out there. We did it day one. Before Lorcana released, we were Illumineers Quest. We're the OG.
So with that said, sorry, I'm distracted. This episode is all the organized play reveals / new info that came from the Lorecast, and there's a lot of dates, there's a lot of times, there's a lot of rulings, there's a lot of judging stuff, there's a lot of prizing.
But really,
a lot of prizing.
You call it organized play, but it's Lorcana Challenge.
Yes, it's the Challenger, Lorcana Challenger circuit, which bumps up into the big tournaments. So, with that said, this episode is breaking down all of the organized play stuff for anybody that's interested in the competitive side of it and you want to understand how all that's going to work. We have a lot of the new level details, a little bit of stuff to come still, but we know how it's going to work for the most part at this point. So, we're going to dive into all that, and most importantly, the prizing.
Most importantly, there you go.
For sure. So, with that said, let's get into it. As always, everyone, thanks for the support. You can, if you're listening to the audio version, you can listen to our YouTube channel where we do a lot of the, my mind is blanking, the tier lists and unboxings and other things like that we have the video behind. We also have all the audio versions on there as well. If you're not listening on a major podcast network and you are on YouTube, we're on Spotify, Apple, iHeart, and all the other major podcast networks. You can also follow us on Twitter at LorcanaPod and follow all my fun takes that are sometimes fun, sometimes they're dumb, but pretty good normally, I would say. And then you can email the show at lorcanapod@gmail.com. And if you're looking to support the podcast, we have a TCG Player affiliate link that you can buy your TCG Player singles through and help support the podcast. So everyone, thanks as always for supporting us and coming along with this journey, because it's been a blast. So let's jump into it.
Please don't mute us. Please.
Yes, don't mute us on social media if you're not wanting to find out the Illumineers Quest storyline. We're not going to spoil anything.
Promise.
Okay, with that said, let's jump into it. I don't have any questions, comments from listeners this week. So if you want to be featured on a future episode, please reach out. But we do have a news recap / what's on our mind / Michael's crazy stuff that he says and does. So we'll jump into that in a second. But card of the week first. So your turn.
Okay. Can you buy me some time?
Buy me some time. Okay, so we'll do the news, what's on our mind, league recap, a.k.a. what crazy stuff that Michael says and does. Okay, so this is flashback. This is when Michael and us were becoming good friends at this point. But the bounce package had just come out. I don't know if you can see where this is. I don't know if you can see where this is going or not. And for a quick recap on that, the Mem Snake and Mem Fox must bounce a character when played, and that means that you take a character from the board and remove it back to your hand, which I assume everybody's more or less familiar with at this point. Mm-hmm. I will say that Michael, on the other hand, may not be as familiar with that. So basically what we were playing, and he was playing the bounce package. I don't think he was playing Ruby Amethyst. He might have been, actually, because I know that around this time he was trying to get all of his play sets of Ruby cards, like Be Prepared and Maui, fixed or filled so that he could play it. And he would play turn 2 Snake. He would say it, and he would say, I bounce Minnie Mouse, or I bounce Olaf, or whatever the card of choice at that point was, but he would not do it. He would say that I'm bouncing Minnie Mouse, but then he would leave the card on the board and not actually return it to his hand. Every time. And this is not like a one time. This is like every single time. Then it would get to turn 3, and he would be like, I'm bouncing Snake with Fox. And Snake, sure as heck, would stay on the board.
I remember that.
He knows how the cards work. Again, this is not like making fun of somebody that's new at the game that doesn't understand the way the cards work. He's a very good player and would very likely have beaten me that game that I'm talking about. But would not think, he's just thinking through so many things, I guess, that it would not actually get bounced back to his hand when he would do it. And so I'd always have to remember it. So he would say it. He would say, Snake bounces Minnie Mouse, or whatever. And I would say, okay, now pick up the Minnie Mouse and put it back in your hand since it's bouncing. because I wouldn't actually do it. So yeah, it's another, again, Michael, we very much have enjoyed getting to know you and very much enjoy playing with you. And thank you for allowing us to have a good laugh at your expense. But that's our Michael story for the week. What's on our mind? News?
I've got a card if you want to do that. I've got a card of the week.
Okay, go for it.
All right, so I'm going to talk about the Amethyst song, Bosses on a Roll. Because I've seen it be getting some more play recently.
A little bit of a deep cut, but okay, let's hear
No,
it.
it's been getting play. I've seen play with Emerald Amethyst.
Yeah, a no cut or a terrible cut would be it doesn't get play. Deep cut is not super relevant, or it's not super in every deck. But yes, let's hear it.
So it's a 3-cost inkable. It's a rare song. The ability is look at the top 5 cards of your deck, put any number of them on the top or the bottom of your deck in any order, gain 1 lore.
I've definitely seen it played.
So this is I mean, if I play, like I hinted in the last episode that I might be playing Tempo, I might play this in it. So obviously with Tempo, you're double singing this with Ursula. So you're gaining a lore each time you sing it, and then you're really shuffling around your deck, which also, I mean, there's a few cards that do that in the game, so it kind of works around that. Like if you need something from the bottom, there's a few cards that will help you get towards the bottom.
Yeah, I could really see that double singing, like probably not early in the game, but to your point, like turn 5, 6, 7 maybe. Like if you need something like very specific, that could get you there. So maybe not a 4 of, but maybe a 2 of in the deck.
I've seen it played in Control. It's like, okay, where's my Be Prepared? I need it now.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So I thought I'd mention it.
Yeah, that's a good deep cut. I like that. New, fun, creative ways to think through different cards. So
and this card was hinting towards, I think, our 4th chapter. So
yeah, that's a good point too.
Here.
That's a good point too. Okay, so what's on our mind? League recap / news. Everything at this point in time is 100% focused on my Rocky montage, getting ready for Stitch Store Championships. That's all I think about all day long.
Are we going to Philadelphia?
If there's a store championship that I can join that has the potential to win a Stitch playmat / Enchanted, yes.
If there is, I'm filming a Rocky montage of Lorcana for you.
I'm gonna be like running up like carrying Lorcana cards as weights, like
battling like Michael or somebody.
Yeah, that'd be insane.
We're gonna do it.
But no, that's what's on my mind. And when I say I nonstop think about it, that's all I think about. I think through different turns. I think through different strategies. Like with my deck, I've pretty much finalized now, so I know what I'm going to play. I just think through different lines and what I could do differently, and to try to counter other stuff that's being played. I want that Stitch Enchanted / playmat very, very badly.
I mean, I think everyone does. So I have a question. How sought after do you think these things are going to be?
Very, very. They're Enchanteds, and they're going to be pretty solidly exclusive. Limited. Yeah. So.
I mean, and this is really the first of its kind too, because we'll get into some other stuff, but there are some other prizes coming out with Chapter 4 and Lorcana Challenge and things like that. So this is really the first of its kind. That's an exclusive prize for competing.
Yeah, and that's what a big chunk of this episode is going to be about, is a lot of that other prizing was announced, and so we're going to talk about that too. So with that said, that's the perfect segue into, let's just talk about the prizing. Like, the prizing's the best part of this, and so let's just talk about the prizing. So, no, because then they have to talk about like how to get to the prizing and all the background. So
I think we talk about just the idea of Lorcana Challenge first.
Yeah, I think you're right. As much as I want to jump into the prizing, give us a couple minutes here, because the backbone and the structure is important to get to the prizing. So they announced the Lorcana Challenger Circuit, which is their organized play championships essentially, and there's 4 dates in Europe of different like locations and times, and there's going to be 6 in the United States.
We have Atlanta, Georgia, and Chicago, Illinois so far.
Yes, and the dates for those 2 have been announced, and it's the end of May and beginning of June for Chicago and Atlanta. I'll get those exact dates. I'm pulling it up as I talk here. And so there's 4 other locations, or 4 other, I guess, locations. I mean, I hate when I said locations, I thought locations in Lorcana.
We're going to the Queen's Castle.
There's 4 other cities that have not been announced yet. So what's your speculation for the 4 cities that will be the other 4 spots for the Challenger circuit?
Anaheim, Orlando, I would say are my 2 super easy ones for me. Maybe one in New York, maybe.
Okay.
And Dallas, Texas.
Yeah, I think we're both jumping for Dallas. That would be like the
big one.
The most likely, or we could drive there, and it's like one of the bigger cities in the country too, and it's like, pretty central, so it could be a good central one. But yeah, I think that I've said Orlando as well. I think that Orlando's a very hopeful one. I said LA area. I think Anaheim, LA, obviously same one. So we had those 2 the same.
There's the Anaheim Convention Center, so that's...
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, and that's really close to Disney as well. So, and then I said Denver, so you kind of have, out there in the middle of the Midwest to, that's a pretty, again, centralized location for a bunch of people to go to. And then Dallas. I said Dallas, Orlando, LA, and Denver. I am kind of leaving the Northeast out there hanging, and so maybe it's like Las Vegas, and then you take the Dallas or the Denver and LA one, and those kind of combine into Las Vegas, and then you have one in the Northeast somewhere, like New York. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. We don't know the specifics yet on those 4. We do know that the Atlanta, Georgia one is May 25th and 26th, and June 8th and 9th for Chicago. And so they said they're going to limit it to 512 people, depending on how fast it sells out. If it sells out instantly, they said they might expand it, but expect 512 registrants per each of these different dates. And then, so after that, I would imagine the rest of them are probably after the fact, getting into like July, August, September timeframe for those other 4 dates.
And you can just, if we have anyone listening from Europe, you can mention the ones from Europe as well.
Yeah, I guess we do have quite a big, I should have said, in Germany and the UK, there's actually quite a decent audience. So we have one in, I'm going to say this wrong, Lille, France.
I think it's Lille.
Lille, France, from May 25th and 26th, so matching Atlanta, Georgia. And then Bochum, Germany on July 6th and 7th.
I believe it's Bochum.
Okay, again, I'm a terrible American. I'm a terrible American. I admit it. I'm really sorry.
I'm trying to help you out. And then, like you said before, 2 more events to be announced for Europe.
I think they've been like soft announced.
Oh, okay.
Which I saw some thrown around. I personally haven't seen like official like communication from these dates, but I have seen a ton of people talking about it on social media. The first one is the UK and Birmingham on September 22nd or 21st and 22nd. And so that's another one in the UK, and so and then there's another one in Italy, and I can't find the dates on that one. And so Italy, UK, Germany, France are going to be the 4, and in the Italy one is in August.
Okay.
So pretty good spread out time, pretty good all over the place. So for the UK listeners and Germany listeners, which are our 2 biggest audiences in Europe, you've got one hopefully pretty close to home.
No, for sure, hopefully.
But yeah, I would love an Orlando one so we can go to Disney World and then play. And then I would love a Texas one or Dallas one so that we can drive there.
We just had a conversation about if it was in Orlando. One of my dreams is to play Lorcana in the hotel lobby. Disney
we're going to do that regardless. If we go to Disneyland,
I know.
We will have our cards with us. So, okay, so that's like the structure. There's 6 dates in the U.S., those 4 in the Europe. And then those different challenge dates feed into the Europe and U.S. championships. And then the winner of those goes on to the World Championship in 2025.
Yes.
The structure is, again, 512 people in each of these, with the Swiss rounds, which I think we need to talk about being a best of 2, which is a little interesting.
It's not a Swiss round. Swiss round would be considered a best of 2 best of...
No,
two out of three, right?
No, the Swiss rounds mean you pair winners with winners and losers with losers.
Yes.
And so in those rounds that you're playing, the first like 8 rounds or whatever it is in those Swiss matchups is a best of 2. And so I think that this is them acknowledging that going first is really, really strong, and they don't want to have an overweight on the dice roll from those first rounds. You know, once you get to like the second day and you're into the top 64 or 32 or whatever they limit it to, then it's going to be a best of 3. But at that point, you know, the best players are going to be able to like overcome going second, all that stuff, blah, blah, blah. And so I don't know. I'm kind of torn. I like it because I don't like, you know, some of this coming down to chance or to luck. And I like a lot of the other stuff that they said where people would stall out games and make ties when they know they're going to lose. And so that keeps that from then happening as well. But again, the competitor in me also says, like, I want to come out of a game knowing I'm winning. You know, I don't want to, like, you know, go 1-1 for 4 rounds in a row and tie and not, you know, really understand where I fit. And so I don't know. I think overall, I'm willing to give it a try, and I'm definitely excited to see how it plays out.
So you get a point for winning a game is how it works.
So you get a point for winning a game, and if you win 2-0, you get 3 points for that match. Mm-hmm. If you go 1-1, then both competitors get 1 point, and then you move on from there.
And your next match is against someone with your same record, same point count.
And then as it gets later on in the rounds, then it continues to match you with people close to where you are in the rankings.
And you might be asking yourself, why do I want to compete in this Lorcana challenge? Why do I want to win these matches?
Well, the prizing, as we have already alluded to
I was trying to give
quite
yourself,
heavily. Trust me, I want to jump to the prizing more than I know. I want to jump to the prizing more than anything, but I think there's a few more things to still talk about. So, top 4 from each of the events go on to the U.S. Championships, right? I'm pretty sure I'm remembering that correctly.
Okay. I don't remember that specifically.
Yeah. So if you place top 8 in an event, no, it's top 8. Sorry. So if you place in the top 8 of any of those challenge events, you get an invite into the U.S. or Europe Championship.
Okay.
And so from there, then they take those pool of players and they go to the championships in their respective regions, which then qualify them for Worlds in 2025.
So big time stuff going on here.
Yes.
This is big stuff.
Yes, and then they also said that there will be at the U.S. and Europe championships, there will be a day 0 qualifier.
And it's for Worlds.
No, so for Worlds, there's no day 0.
So for the World Championship, though,
there will be no day 0 qualifiers. I see. So for the U.S. and Europe Championship, there will be a day 0. So if you don't qualify through the challenge circuit, you can go, and the day before that the like U.S. Championship or Europe Championship starts, you can go and you can try to like win yourself through on a last chance qualifier, as they usually call it in like the video game realm that I'm used to. But yeah, and then they said at the world or at the regional championships in U.S. and in Europe that there will be a lot of other fun fan events going on, and so even if you don't qualify through that last chance qualifier, that there will still be other fun stuff that you can go do through those times. And so depending on that, might be in Orlando, you know, like the U.S. Championship might be in Orlando.
I hope this is like a fun thing. I think it's gonna be I
think it'll be really fun. So yeah, so that's kind of the structure. Is it's best of 2 in Swiss, best of 3 once you get to the day 2 for the top qualifiers, and then from there it's all point based. Top 8 make it to the regionals or to the continentals, as they're calling it, or the U.S. Championships and the Europe Championships. There's one thing I want to talk about real quick before we jump into the prizing is these dates for Atlanta specifically too, May 25th and 26th. That's a week after Set 4 comes out. So is Set 4 going to be legal in these? That's one of the things that they didn't know yet. So I don't know if you're going to be able to go into into Atlanta on May 25th with a Set 4 deck. What are you thinking?
That's real early if it is.
I know. I don't know. I could see them doing it either way, because obviously they want to support the new stuff that's coming out, and so it would be weird for them to, or I guess I shouldn't say weird. It would be understandable for them to put it in, but also I have a very video game background, I guess, and so most of the time in the video game realm, when they drop like a new update that drastically changes the game or the meta in the game, they usually give it about a month on the old version before they switch the competitors over to the new version. And so I could very much see that being a thing too, where they take all of May. I mean, even though that you're getting into like June 8th, and so that's like 3 weeks later or 2 weeks later, June 8th and 9th, at Chicago, like that's right after the wide release of the game. And so I don't know. I could see it either way. I don't know if I have a feeling about which way I would prefer it to go. All I know is if I do end up deciding to go to Atlanta and they do chapter 4, you best believe I am pulling all my friends' cards that they pull from set 4 and taking them with me.
100% you are.
Because I'm going to borrow anything I need. The one downside that I would be is I've mentioned this a ton of times. I'm definitely no brewmaster. I'm very bad at like making my own decks. I'm very good at like tweaking other people's decks that fit my playstyle a little better, that make me comfortable. But at that early in the match, I would imagine all of those brewmasters are going to be very tight-lipped.
I think you just need to come over to our house and we'll just brainstorm and just...
Yeah, we might have to. But anyway, so that's the structure. That's the timing. That's the 512 people, best of the Swiss rounds going into the top on set day 2. Prizing... So let's talk about it because we have to get into it now.
Are we going to do from most obtainable to least, I'd assume?
Yeah, why not? I think that makes the most sense. So the coolest part is that if you go and participate at any of the challenge events, you get a enchanted promo series Dragonfire. And it's also worth noting that the promos for the challenge circuit have their own specific symbol as well, so that you know that they're specific for the challenge circuit. And the first one, so again, you go, you play, you lose every single game you play, you still get a Dragonfire. And it's a fantastic looking Dragonfire too.
So what we were kind of looking at here is, I don't know if you remember this, but from when Lorcana was kind of first released, when they would reveal a card, they kind of revealed a full art version of the card.
Yeah.
So do you remember, there was we kind of saw the body of Dragonfire, here in this full art version.
Well, they said that they redid the Dragonfire art.
So yes,
card.
They went back, and it's not that card. If you're just listening to the audio version, haven't seen it, it's not that card.
Right.
It is a new art. It's got the thorns. It
looks right out of the movie.
It's incredible.
Yes, so I love this card. It's the Dragonfire that you're used to. There's nothing different about it aside from the art, obviously. But it is an incredible card, and that alone is why I want to go to 2 events, is so that I can get 2 Dragonfires. Because I'm
give one to me, right?
No.
Oh.
Nice try, though. Those hopefully will be relatively easier to come by because everyone gets one. And so if you're talking 10 events across 500 people in each, that's 50,000 people, so 50,000 of these cards out there. Is my math really off there? Your
math is really off.
So is it 5,000 of them? Man, so 10 events times 512 people. Yeah, it's 5. Wow, okay, 5,000. Yeah, I was off by a 0 there. So 5,000 is still pretty rare. But definitely the most common of the bunch we'll get to. So the real prizing starts once you hit top 64. Mm-hmm. So of that 512, if you make it to what I would imagine the top 64 is day 2. So you do your Swiss rounds on day 1. They didn't, again, specify this. But assumption would say you do your 8 Swiss rounds on day 1, and then day 2 is the top 64, which goes on to the normal bracket style, I would think, to get to the finals. And at the top 64, you get a Let It Go song from Chapter 1.
And it is ridiculously... it's insane. The look of this is nuts. It's multicolored. It's still that full art style. It's I don't want to say frame breaking because it doesn't have a frame, but it is just...
It looks incredible. I mean, this is probably... Oh, God, I don't know. I was going to say it might be my second favorite one, but I can't... I think it probably is my second favorite one. I would imagine the foiling on this in person is beautiful.
Yes, I could not agree more. It's these cards are going to be so sought after.
Yes. Yeah. So top 64. So you make it to day 2. Again, I'm assuming you make it to day 2, then you get this card. If you make it to the next round, top 32, then you get another card, which is Cinderella Stouthearted from chapter 2.
Which are we in agreement that this is the best one?
No.
What?
No.
Really?
No.
Okay, well this is my favorite.
Okay. I mean, this art is so Dragonfire and Let It Go are very, very similar to their initial cards, just with like full art and a lot more like detail added.
Like
this one's very different.
Yeah, like her action pose is different. She's in a different environment.
Yeah.
No, this is my favorite by far. This is my favorite prize by far.
Okay. Well then, I've said my personal goal is to get top 32. I think that's a very stretch goal.
So if you don't like it, then you just give it to me, right?
No.
Okay.
Nice try.
I don't know if I'm going to one of these, so you got to help me out here. We'll agree on that.
How do I help you out? I get one.
Like you said, if you go to 2 events, you get 2 Dragonfires.
Well, I mean, we'll see, because I mean, those are going to be super sought after.
If I'm giving you the cards for your deck to go and play in these events, come on.
That might seem a little more fair. But yeah, Cinderella Stouthearted, again, incredible art, amazing card. Super. So again, I'm not saying this isn't my favorite and I don't like it. I'm saying this isn't my favorite. They're all incredible. It's just so hard to choose. Is basically what I'm saying.
Yep, I agree.
So that's top 32. Top 16 is Rapunzel Gifted with Healing, which I think is my favorite.
Is your favorite? Okay.
It's, again, incredible. Like, it's the golden glow of her hair in this one is magnificent.
And it's all around the card, like even towards the bottom.
Different pose on this one as well.
Yep.
So it's not the same pose from the Chapter 1 Legendary Rapunzel card. It's a different art, but yeah, it's her golden hair is just all over, flowing all through the card, and it looks incredible.
Rochelle said on the Lorecast that she pulled for this one, so... She got her card.
And it's a top 16 card. So not only that, but it's top 16. And then moving on to top 8, you get a Challenger playmat, which is bonkers.
And it is the Rapunzel Gifted with Healing.
And it's got golden, gold leaf on it. Like, is what they were saying.
So they said it's foil.
Yeah, or gold. Yeah, gold leaf, gold foil. I mean, I'm trying to say the same thing essentially, but yes, like it's got the Lorcana Challenge logo on the top right corner, and that you can definitely tell is gold foil. I'm wondering if there's like gold foil laced throughout her hair as well. It's a little harder to tell on that one because it's so bright and vibrant to begin with. I imagine in person that is an incredible collector's
I don't know
item.
about you. We should have talked about the last episode we recorded, but
I know. I thought about that too when I started talking about it. We'll talk about the accessories of Chapter 4 at the end since we missed it last time.
But I'll just say this. I needed a little playmat love, and I think we got it with.
Yes, but again, I think me making top 8, like, I'm realistic with myself. I would have to get like a really, really strong matchup and like have a lot of like pairings that I have, a matchup that goes in my favor at that point to get there. Like, I know I'm not the best player ever. But if somehow I made it to the top 8, you best believe that thing is going in a case and like it's never seen the light of day. Like, I understand playing it, and I know most people probably will, because it's, I don't want to say a status symbol like people flexing, but it's very much like a...
It is. Let's be honest, it is.
No, because I think you can, it depends on like your demeanor. Like, you can very much do it in like a loving, maybe loving's not the right word, but a very like, just normal way where it's just like, hey, I played in this, I'm very proud of my achievement. That's a better way to do it. Like, I'm very proud of the achievement. You can do it, and you can be very proud of it and be very like excited for your achievement, or you can do it in a very like gloaty, arrogant way. And so I think it very much depends. I'm not that guy. I would just like treasure that thing so much, and so that's the difference with me, I guess, in the normal. But yeah.
So we've been saying like, oh, Rapunzel's my favorite. The Cinderella's my favorite. Well, there probably will be a new favorite that has not been revealed yet officially.
It's been teased.
So a top 4 prize would be a Mickey Brave Little Tailor, but there's a few things to go with this.
Oh, just a few caveats?
There's a few differences. So first of all, it is a new art. They did say that.
They did say it's new art.
It is a gold card.
Golden. Like full gold. Like, I mean, they kind of showed it pixelated. I don't know if it was just an outline or what, but it's like full gold. Like, not like gold, like tint or whatever, or gold like foil. It's like a gold card.
And it is serialized numbered.
To the winners that get them.
This is going to be insane.
And again, there's 10 events that these can be won at. 4 per event. 40 total ever made. 40.
So you could get one of 40.
Yeah, if you end up in the top 4 and you get the number 1 of 40 of these Mickey Brave Little Tailor gold cards, you've got a gold mine on your hand. Like actually printing money.
There's no way you're selling that.
If I made top 4 and got 1 of 40, I'm 100% selling it, and that's coming. That's not coming for. And again, like I don't sell the stuff. Like I collect this. I've very rarely sold any of the collectible stuff I have, but that baby's buying a house. So you best believe I'm selling it and buying a house with that card.
Hey, we got to work on our podcasting equipment, bro.
I'll leave $1,000 left over for the podcasting equipment to go in that house.
And donate a little bit to a friend.
I know I'm not gonna. I'm very aware that I'm not making it there. But anyways, that being said, those are the pricing. Like I really like the way they did it too. I don't know. We didn't mention I don't know if there's a cost associated with entry. I don't know if you have to pay to get into these events. I would imagine they do because it has to be.
So they said it's a ticketed event.
Yes, I would imagine it's really costly to hold this, and so I get if it costs something to go or to get in there, because if they didn't, then it would cost them probably hundreds of thousands of dollars to hold this, and that would be really tough business perspective wise. That being said, these prizes are so perfect because you're doing this for the love of the game and for the love of Disney and no other reason.
Yeah.
I don't mind people doing win-a-box tournaments and cash prize tournaments like the big 8K tournament they had a couple weekends. Gosh, I have the hiccups. A couple weekends ago. But you're going to these because you love competition, you love Disney, and you love the game. There obviously is a monetary value behind these, and you could definitely make your money back if you wanted to sell them. But they're all so beautiful. I thought that Stitch Rockstar Enchanted promo for the set championships, the store championships was good. All of these make it look like a normal Enchanted.
It does. Yep.
So they all have their very unique style too. I guess it's worth saying that they all of these Enchanteds are very different, stylized wise.
They all have a little bit of multicolor going on there.
Yeah, they all. It very looks like the foil is very rainbowy with rainbow lines and stuff going through it versus just kind of your normal cold foil shininess.
It almost looks like ink strokes.
Yeah, that's actually a very good way to put that. Yeah, I like that a lot. So yeah, that's the organized play announcements in a nutshell. I mean, again, I think for us or for myself in particular, I definitely am going to try to get to 2 of them. That's obviously going to be very dependent on the locations of it. But our local airport doesn't have very many direct flights, but Atlanta and Chicago are actually 2 of them.
Yes, they are.
And depending on where the rest of them are, we will see where we end up going if or how many I end up going to, because again, I want to go to 2. Just again, this is just the fan in me. Not because I want to go get 2 gold Mickeys or 2 playmats or whatever. Because I don't think I'm going to get there. I genuinely just want to go play, have fun, meet a bunch of the community, enjoy the game, and do all of the above. So I'm really excited. I think that this is what I got into it for, I wanted the competitive side of it. I wanted the Disney side of it. I wanted all of this community side of it. So I'm super, super excited for this year and what they announced on that Lorcast.
It's going to be a good time. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And I mean, what's interesting too is set 4 is not the only set coming out this year.
Yeah. Set 5 comes out in July.
Yeah. Or
no, set 5 is in August, the beginning of August.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's it's not the only thing happening this year. Chapter 4 and this. There's still some other stuff to come.
Yeah,
so.
And again, I really want to understand how they play all of those new sets into these events, because like, what if you win, you know, you get top 8 before set 5? It's like, well, then now the meta's changed, and like, how, you know, are you able to adapt and all that stuff? And so anyways, yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how they handle all the new releases with all this. Being our first TCG, I imagine this is relatively common in Pokemon and a couple of the other ones that have, you know, common releases like this. But it's our first time, so we're learning along the way.
This is a big deal. I mean, they've picked. I mean, we'll talk about the pricing one more time. The Stout-Hearted and Gifted with Healing for 1. These are cards that were like, why didn't they give these Enchanteds? Like, these deserved Enchanteds.
They did talk about that too.
And they are more deserving of these than anything else.
Yeah. Again, these are like very, very different Enchanteds that are going to be so sought after and cool.
I don't think they're considered Enchanteds too, is the thing.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, they are, you know, just full art promo challenge cards, but I mean, I think Enchanted is the right word given the full art style of it. But yeah, so I guess we need to talk about it. We can jump off of this real quick and talk about the other new stuff coming out, since we somehow forgot to talk about it in our last episode. The Chapter 4 accessories. They are so, and maybe it kind of fits with this because it's all older cards that deserved more love. They announced that they're not going to do new cards always for the accessories. So the accessories for Chapter 4 are a massive fan favorite in Tinkerbell Giant Fairy.
That's a playmat.
As a playmat. And so again, at being the... I mean, you're just gonna say that? I thought you were gonna give me a thought on the Tinkerbell.
Well,
That's the one that everybody wants, right?
That's the one that everyone wants. That's
Michael,
fair.
our shout out Michael again. He's already told me that that's the one he wants, and I was like, I very clearly that's the one I want too.
Yep. I don't know how I feel about it. I honestly have a negative feeling on it.
What?
So for me personally, the Chapter 1 art I feel like is a step down compared.
Ooh, shots fired.
I don't mean this.
I know you don't mean it negatively. I know you don't mean it negatively. I'm just giving a hard time.
I just think they experimented a lot more in Chapters 2 and 3, and you can even tell in Chapter 4 up and coming. And I think that those arts specifically are much more well deserving of a playmat.
See, I think of it in a different light. Like, I don't think of it necessarily about the art. I think of it about how iconic it is as a card.
And
like,
fair.
Tinkerbell Giant Fairy has been a top 5 card through all the chapters.
That's fair.
Jumping to the other one real quick, the Rapunzel from Chapter 2, actually, the Gifted Artist, Floodborn. That one's a little odd. I mean, they talked about, like, fan favorite cards. I've never seen it played.
Yeah.
I think Rochelle probably had some influence on this one too, because she seems to be a very big Rapunzel fan, and this art has been like her profile picture on Discord for a while.
Yes, it is.
So, but anyways, do I like it still? Absolutely. Do I want it still? Yeah, most likely. I this morning I actually posted that I'm becoming a mat hoarder, and
there we go.
I very much, you know, want them both again. If I can only get one, definitely Tinkerbell's it. But so again, but taking a step back from just those two, I really like the fact of them going back and picking like iconic cards. Like, imagine a Beast Tragic Hero card, and imagine a like Be Prepared like mat.
If it means we get a Jim Hawkins accessory,
or Jim Hawkins,
that's the selfish fan in me.
But that's the point. Is like if you do it that way, then you don't end up with a. I mean, and again, don't get me wrong. I have one, but the Beast playmat from Chapter 2. I mean, it's a great mat. Don't get me wrong. But it's just like, it's not a played card. You know, the Gargoyle Beast is cool, but it's not like iconic to the Lorcana scene. If you do it this way, then everything that you get can. And same thing for the promos. Again, I'm trying to tie this. The reason we're talking about it now is because it ties back into the promos.
And
all those promos. Yes, I mean, we forgot. Let's forget that part. all those promos that we talked about are more or less iconic cards. I mean, you could say Let It Go is like the one that's like on the fence there, but Let It Go is, I think, still a very played card, and it's probably one of the most iconic Disney songs of the last 20 years. And so it all makes sense. And so from that respect, I really like the direction to do iconic cards from previous sets, so that you know that it's going to have a lot of traction behind it. And they also mentioned that the accessories may not always launch in conjunction with the new